Right now, we break down the video of Sterling Brown's arrest, plus an emotional reunion after a school bus accident, and a health warning for women under 50, the alarming trend that has cancer experts concerned. And know your rights, how your DNA test could be used against you. The News at 10 starts now.
Taser! Taser! Taser!
I'm sorry this incident escalated to this level.
Milwaukee Police Chief Alfonso Morales apologizes for the arrest of Bucks guard Sterling Brown. We showed you the body camera video live on the CBS 58 News at 5.
And reaction has been swift and angry. We have team coverage on the arrest. CBS 58's David Schumann spoke to Mayor Tom Barrett and community activists.
First, we go to Mark McPherson. He's live outside police headquarters with a full breakdown of the video. Mark.
The video shows it was only a few moments from when the officer first started talking to Brown that things started to escalate. The video starts simple enough. Brown coming out of Walgreens and approaching the officer.
You don't see.
That's where simple ended. Brown didn't like the officer touching him. The officer didn't like what he was seeing.
Can't get another squad here.
While they wait, they continue their exchange.
All right. I own this right here. You don't own me though. So what's your
About 2 minutes later, a squad car arrives. Then another, then another. The officer can be heard wondering why so many.
I'm trying to get on the horn to cancel all this. I just wanted one.
Meanwhile, Brown's car alarm goes off. He reaches in his pocket to turn it off. It happens again a short time later. At this point, 6 officers are surrounding Brown, and that's when things get heated. Officers wrestle with Brown.
Taser! Taser! Taser!
I would look at this and say it just never started right.
Use of force expert Bob Willis says a lot of things led to this moment.
To me, as a trainer and a police officer, the biggest thing to me was more the verbal exchanges in the beginning.
After Brown was back on his feet, cuffed and surrounded, the exchanges between he and the officer continue.
No, you initiated everything. You initiated. Yeah, I did.
Now, it was only after Brown was tased and handcuffed that the officer can be heard on video talking about the fact that Brown was a Bucks player. He can be heard saying that he didn't know at the time of the arrest, but he can also be heard saying that he didn't care. Reporting live in Milwaukee, Mark McPherson, CBS 58 News.
All right, Mark, thank you. Chief Alfonso Morales says officers acted inappropriately the night of January 26th. They have been disciplined. Their names will be released when the investigation is complete.
Sterling Brown ended his silence in a statement on Twitter, saying in part, "My experience with the Milwaukee Police Department was wrong and shouldn't happen to anybody. What should have been a simple parking ticket turned into an attempt at a police intimidation, followed by the unlawful use of physical force."
City leaders briefed on the body camera video are responding in new ways tonight.
CBS 58's David Schumann spoke to local activists. He joins us live outside Milwaukee City Hall with what they are calling for. David.
A little more than an hour after the video was released today, a group called the African American Roundtable shared a clear message saying the officers in this incident should be fired. Sterling Brown's January arrest is now one of many high-profile incidents of police force in Milwaukee. Marquesa Tucker of the African American Roundtable says she's happy the young man still has his life.
This is not a case of bad apples, but an entire cart of bad apples that needs an entire overhaul and a culture shift.
Mayor Tom Barrett, who before today said this body cam video disturbed him, agreed change is needed. In the last 3 years, Milwaukee police misconduct has led to $21 million in lawsuit settlements.
David, we've heard from a lot of people concerned about the video. Is anyone defending the police officers tonight?
The Milwaukee Police Association did put out a statement saying, in part, inevitably every use of force will be scrutinized and often opinion gets in the way of fact. Unfortunately, society and local leaders only take issue when the situation is sensational or the individual is of prominence. Reporting live outside Milwaukee City Hall, David Schumann, CBS 58 News.
But we checked online records tonight. As of now, a lawsuit has not been filed. Our coverage continues later on in the show. We'll tell you how the Bucks are reacting to this video. You can watch all 30 minutes of it on our website, cbs58.com.
A Wauwatosa police officer avoids disciplinary action after a chaotic arrest at Mayfair Mall. The May 11th arrest was caught on cell phone video. Police reviewed the video and announced today Officer Evan Olson was justified in punching a 17-year-old boy. You just saw it. According to police, the teen was resisting arrest and tried to take the officer down. We told you on Friday the teen's mother is considering legal action. Her attorney sent us a new statement tonight. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. The video in my client's case speaks for itself, and it speaks loudly.
Parents reunite with their children after a terrifying school bus accident in central Wisconsin. Middle schoolers and chaperones from Hope Christian School's Semper campus in Milwaukee. They were pulled over on the side of the road when a semi-truck rear-ended them. 20 people were hurt. CBS 58's Lindsay Branwell was there when the injured people returned home. She joins us live with an emotional reunion. Lindsay?
Bill, that emotional reunion happened just a couple of hours here. A bus picked up injured students from urgent care in the hospital before returning to Hope Christian School's Semper campus, where parents anxiously awaited to see their children for the first time since the accident. A tight hug from school staff was the first thing students received after getting back from a field trip that never happened.
Just by talking to them shortly here, some of them appeared to have been shaken up. That investigation is still ongoing as far as any medication or drugs or alcohol or anything like that. Those involvements are still ongoing at this time.
A semi crashed into the school bus parked on the shoulder just after 10 a.m. That's when Victor Williams got a call from his 8th grade daughter.
She has a couple of scratches on her face. She had to get stitches under her chin and a couple of scrapes on her arm.
Loved ones will gather tomorrow morning to remember a Pleasant Prairie teenager. Authorities say 18-year-old Cameron Knopf was driving in Summers this morning, not far from Shoreland Lutheran School. Knopf lost control on Highway E and hit a tree. The teen's death comes just 3 days before his high school graduation.
He made the best out of every situation, no matter what, and that's something that I really admired about him and kind of inspired me a little bit just to take things easy and be happy, and he really did that.
Knopf's 16-year-old brother was hurt in the crash. He's recovering from non-life-threatening injuries. A prayer service will be held tomorrow morning in the Shoreland Lutheran High School gym. Everyone is welcome. That service starts at 8 a.m. The school says counselors and pastors will be available to students who need to talk. It's going to cost you to hit the road this Memorial Day weekend.
We find the highest and lowest gas prices in our area.
The information may be turned against somebody else.
Plus, CBS 58 investigates genetic testing, the potential privacy concerns that come with a DNA test.
And training for a streetcar emergency. Jessica Ty takes you behind the scenes as local law enforcers prepare for the worst.
Beautiful afternoon, 76 degrees for a high, but we've got 80s on the way over the next several days. In fact, we may even make a run at 90 degrees. But with the heat and humidity, that means a chance for a few showers and thunderstorms. We'll time them out for you. Coming up in your CBS 58 Ready Weather.
The Golden State Killer is behind bars after police used a DNA sample and a genealogy website to identify him. Joseph D'Angelo accused of rape and murders dating back to the 1970s.
His arrest highlights the privacy risks that come with DNA testing. CBS 58 investigative reporter Kristen Barbarisi explains what rights you give away when you take a genetic test.
These genealogy websites create DNA databases which can be valuable to researchers and police. But do they compromise your privacy?
Off a busy Racine County road, inside Holy Family Catholic Cemetery, rests the body of a young woman.
She's been labeled as a Jane Doe all of these years.
Unidentified since her body was found in a cornfield in July of 1999.
She was brutally raped and murdered, tortured.
Sheriff Christopher Schmeling says for 19 years, investigators searched for Jane Doe's identity. And now, CBS 58 Investigates learned there's new hope after police in California used a public genealogy site to solve a decades-old crime.
I've always said this, DNA is a silent witness to the truth.
The Golden State Killer, who police say is responsible for several rapes and murders in the 70s and 80s, was identified after investigators uploaded the suspect DNA to GED Match. The site lets users upload their DNA profiles and matches them with relatives. In the California case, it matched police with a relative of the killer, leading to an arrest.
It's very exciting.
Sheriff Schmeling now wants to compare Jane Doe's DNA with samples submitted to genealogy sites, with the hope that one of her relatives is in the database.
So we're working with our county's lawyers to find out what legalities do we face.
When investigators in California used GED Match, the site was intended only for people to upload their own DNA profiles. Criminal defense attorney Julius Kim says the use of these sites by police is new legal territory.
When law enforcement accesses those databases, it might be contrary to a particular company's rules, but the question is whether it amounts to a constitutional violation, and I'm not sure it does.
On a warm, beautiful day, temperatures will creep back up into the 80s later this week. Chief Meteorologist Drew Burgoyne here with the good news for us. Hello, Drew.
Hi, guys. Yeah, hot and humid. We haven't really talked about that in a while. Well, that's kind of what it's going to feel like as we go throughout Friday, Saturday, into Sunday. Tonight, beautiful, 58 in Racine, 59 in Kenosha. Milwaukee's at 63, also 87 on Sunday. And Monday, a little bit cooler as the winds turn from Memorial Day in the upper 70s.
Thank you, Drew. Cancer experts are warning women about an alarming new trend. Women under 50 are now more likely to get lung cancer than younger men. Researchers tracked the change over the last 10 to 15 years. They found up to 20% of women diagnosed are non-smokers.
Drivers in Milwaukee paying more to fill up their tanks. Average price for a gallon of gas in Milwaukee, $2.99, 5 cents more than the national average. We've seen several stations advertise a gallon of regular for $3.09. CBS 58 morning anchor Jessica Tai shows you how the city is preparing for what might go wrong.
Most people don't know, but it's happening right now. Emergency responders like these men with Milwaukee's heavy urban rescue team are training for a streetcar emergency.
If there would be a person entrapped between the vehicle and the streetcar, if there was a person trapped underneath the streetcar, trapped between the streetcar and one of the loading stations.
Here they're training on an old bus, but they're using the same techniques they'd use for a rescue with the HOP.
We can use some of our airbags, tools that we carry to actually be able to lift this vehicle off the tracks and remove something if there ever happens to be someone that gets trapped underneath it.
The Homer Happy Brewers set a franchise record. Kevin Holden breaks down a big day in Brewers country.
The CBS 58 Sports Zone with Kevin Holden.
No Brewers team has ever been better after 50 games. Brewers' big bats broke out again today. Travis Shaw's 3-run homer and Tyler Saladino's solo shot. Two key moments as the Brewers sweep Arizona and go to 31-19 on the season. Racine native Caron Butler just finished a long NBA career, part of it with the Bucks, but Butler is the first to say he was not supposed to make it this far. Scott Grodzki has the touching story.
Drug dealing at 12, in and out of jail by 15 or so. Where would you be if not for basketball?
I don't know. I think I'll be in the cemetery or in the penitentiary.
It's a long road from 14 arrests to 14 years in the NBA. Racine's Caron Butler was speeding down a bad path until solitary confinement helped him turn his life around. 23 hours in a cell at 15 years old, day after day.
Recapping our top story tonight, Milwaukee police have released video of Sterling Brown's arrest.
He was tased in January outside a Southside Walgreens. You can see Brown being taken to the ground by multiple police officers. Milwaukee Police Chief Alfonso Morales apologized and said the officers involved were disciplined.
The Bucks organization reacted to the video in an emotional statement today, saying the abuse and intimidation that Sterling experienced at the hands of Milwaukee police was shameful and inexcusable. Sterling has our full support as he shares his story and takes action to provide accountability.
Our team coverage of the Sterling Brown arrest continues on the CBS 58 Morning News starting at 4:30 a.m. Coverage picks up at 7 a.m. on CBS This Morning. DeMarco Morgan will report on the investigation live from Milwaukee. Drew?
Warming up tomorrow, most spots about 80 degrees, middle 80s on Friday. Now, Friday night, showers and thunderstorms will be possible.
Thanks so much for joining us for the CBS 58 News at 10. We'll see you back here tomorrow night.